Welcome everybody, my name is Anna and this is
Jessie,
and we work in product development. Today we're going to talk about these adorable little XO blocks that you get in your week 2 of your quilt. So these are done completely on the sewing machine, so they're really easy to put together, but they might feel a little intimidating, so we're going to kind of break it down and just really make this super easy for you guys. So we're going to start with, we've got our fabric 1 piece, and then we've got 2 of our fabric 2 pieces for our X and O blocks. And so we're going to take our fabric 2 pieces, both of them, we're going to place them right side down on our cutting mat here. And then I'm going to grab my ruler, and you can use a water soluble pen or a heat sensitive pen. And these are 1.5 by 1.5 inch blocks. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to draw a line from one corner to the other on this block all the way down. I'll kind of go over it a couple times so you can see really well. So this is my block. So I've drawn a line, a diagonal line from one point to the other, just on one side. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. So I'm just going to draw a line all the way down. Perfect. So once I've done that, I'm going to pull in my piece, my fabric 1 piece, and with both of my fabric 2 pieces, again right side down, I'm going to place one on the bottom left corner, and then I'm going to place one on the top right corner. So they're going to look like this. And then, so you could pin them together or sew them even together one at a time. But you'll take this to a sewing machine and you're going to use a scant seam, which means you're just going to go 1 thread width outside of your line that you've drawn. So you're going to go on the outsides of both of these lines, and you're just going to sew a straight stitch all the way across on both sides. So then you're going to end up with a piece that looks like this. So this is for one of the O blocks. So I've got this, and then I'm going to take a rotary cutter, some scissors, and I'm going to measure 1/4 inch from that stitch line. And I'm going to trim the outside corner of my block off. And I'm going to be trimming both my fabric 1 and my fabric 2 pieces they're both there, right? So I'm going to measure 1/4 inch from that stitch line. I'm going to trim that off. It's going to look like this. So I'm going to do that to the other side, and I'll have something that looks like this. Kind of looks like a little boat. So then we're going to take this to our iron, and you're actually going to grab both of these corners and pull them out. You're going to turn it into a little square. And then I'm going to place this right side down on my ironing mat, and I am going to press these seams open. And the reason we recommend pressing them open, you can kind of choose. I think everybody kind of prefers something different, but we like to press them open to help really minimize the bulk on one side or the other. It kind of evens that out really nicely, and just really helps this look really good. Okay, so then what I like to do as well is I like to flip my block over right side up and give it a final press all the way around. And then I've got one of my 4 blocks for my X or my O. So you'll make all of your blocks, your tiny little blocks, this exact same way. You'll just configure them differently for the X's and the O's. Is that right, Jessie?
Yes.
Okay, so she's going to kind of walk us through how to do that.
So then once you have all of your little squares sewn together, you're going to arrange them into the letter that you're making. The blue ones make the O, and the red ones make the X. So to make the O, you want to place all of your diagonals kind of facing outwards so that you have the circle in the middle. And then for the X, you're going to place all of your diagonals going to the center. Once you have them set up in the letter that you want, you're going to fold them on top of each other, right sides together, and you're going to sew 1/4 inch across both sides, and you're going to do the same thing with your X's. And once you've sewn those, you should come out with your 2 halves. And when you have your 2 halves, you're going to fold those over top of each other. And I recommend sewing a little seam at the top, middle, and the bottom to open it up and make sure that all of your seams line up. And if they all look good, fold it back over, sew your 1/4 inch, and then you'll come out with your O, and do the same thing with your X's. fold them on top of each other, right sides together. So your little seams at the top, middle, and bottom, open it up. If they're not lined up, just fold it back, unpick the few little stitches, try again. Once they're lined up good, sew your 1/4 of an inch and you'll end up with your X's.
Awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for showing us that. Well, we hope these tips really help you to be successful with this, and we wish you luck. Happy sewing.